Welcome back, hockey fans, to the Blocking Biscuits podcast. I am your host for tonight's fun and games, Mr. Treh Hamilton, joined alongside my executive producer, partner in crime, Mr. Brad Thompson. Tops, how you doing tonight? It's good to have you back.
Doing good. Just coming off a big win against Woodstock, so feeling good going into the playoffs.
Look at this guy. He's got the spirits up. And speaking of playoffs, it seems like they're right around the corner. And man, how quickly the year flies by. Feels like we just got settled in September, getting ready for the season, and now here it is at its ultimate climax. The best part of hockey is the playoffs, no matter what league you represent, whether we're talking junior, senior, pro, it doesn't matter. And we got a really important show to break down today. We're going to split it into two parts because we are speaking NPHL playoff preview, and we're going to be talking all things Capital Conference tonight. Although the division winners have already been decided, and the Outlaw Cup, the original, the I guess you could say the original six. That term might be coined by somebody else, so don't sue me, National Hockey League. But no, the six teams in the first inaugural Outlaw Cup have been decided. We still have a couple spots up for grabs, and there's a lot on the line. Don't kid yourself. A $25,000 prize, and a lot of teams that are going to be going head to head looking to claim their spot in the Outlaw tournament coming up in Smiths Falls, Ontario at the end of April into the first weekend of May. And the Capital Conference, we're joking off the air. It's quite a drive for a couple of us. We were looking at Smiths Falls, about 5 hours from me right now, and we decided that we were going to go and seek some help when it comes to the Capital Conference, which is one of the best senior hockey leagues when it was the EOSHL, now obviously rebranded and expanded. But the Capital Conference has some crazy talent. They have some really good teams. And we got a gentleman with us tonight who is going to be coined our NPHL Capital Conference insider, whether he likes it or not. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of NPHL TV, a man who does a great job, who's in the business that I'm in as well, in terms of doing play by play, calling the games. Welcome inside the Blocking Biscuits podcast, Mr. Billy Boal. Thank you for being with us tonight, Billy.
It's an honor to be here, guys. Thank you for the opportunity. This is excellent. Very excited to be here.
We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day today, Billy, to come on and join us and talk something that it seems that you love. I can tell by the background of all three of us guys here. There's a sport that really stands out. We all love hockey. You yourself are a play-by-play man. Why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit of your story of what got you involved with the EOSHL, that's now the NPHL, and who you work for, and give us a little bit of that expertise on where you come from and what you're going to tell us tonight.
Well, I guess I started out about 5 years ago with B2SN, and I did a few games there for Aaron Pryor, and then I broke off with him and went. Justin Allery was doing the Frontenac Phantom games. We were doing Phantoms TV for a while, and I guess we did a pretty good job because a bunch of teams wanted me, Justin, and my son James to start doing their games, like Tweed and Deserano, Gann, and we started doing the entire league. And then after Josh and John bought the league, they asked us to come on and be a part of the league and just bring all of our stuff over to them. And they bought all of our equipment and all that stuff, which we greatly appreciate. And then Justin went off onto his own venture, and James and I stayed with the league. And now my son and I just go around and do whichever team wants us to come and do their games. It's been an exciting journey, and honestly, it's been a dream of mine to be a play-by-play guy. I followed Bob Cole and Joe Bowen, obviously, and Harry Neal and all those guys. So this is honestly really seriously a dream come true, and I have enjoyed every second of this from the start to right now, and obviously right up to these playoffs, which are going to be amazing. So it's been an incredible journey.
What a cool experience to do that with your son. Trey and I are both fathers, younger kids, but imagining when my son gets older, calling, hockey games with him, that's got to be a real special thing.
It really is. It's actually brought us. James was in a bit of a rough spot there just before we started this, and him and I were kind of, having some rough times. This has brought us closer than I ever thought we could ever get. He's was never really into hockey growing up, so it was difficult for me. He was into computers, and I had to have my wife set this entire thing up for me. I don't know how to do anything with computers, so it's been amazing. Our father-son relationship has become more of a brotherhood, and it's amazing. It's truly amazing.
That's really special. And we always tease the cliches with hockey that hockey is a family and it's a community, all the way from the NHL all the way down to, Timbits that just get started on the ice. It's really cool that even though, like you said, he wasn't interested in playing, getting to come around and get to do that with you. That's really cool. And now I got to start bugging my dad, I think, to jump on the calls with me. So that's really special, man. I'm really happy for you and for your son, and you guys do great work up there. You guys are our connection because we're so far away from a lot of these teams, although we're in the same league. And Brad's got his Halton Hills hat and I got my Stratford hat. We're geographically so far away, we wouldn't even be able to really follow outside of updating game sheet and sitting there, hitting refresh until the game sheet updates, without you guys going in and putting in the great work that you guys do and getting, giving us the opportunity to watch replays, watch the games. If we can't catch them live, we can still catch them on NPHL TV after the fact. And it's really special, and we appreciate everything you're doing up there.
That's greatly appreciated. My son does all the highlight packages and all that stuff, and yeah, it's a new little addition we put in there, and I'm glad you guys have taken advantage of it because we, as my tagline goes, we love doing it, or we love bringing it to you. We hope you love it as much as we do. And you were talking about family, like I was thinking before the game, I've been in 13 arenas in this league over the time that I've been here, and the one thing that I've noticed in every arena is that family atmosphere. Doesn't matter how many fans are in the stand, if it's 100 or 1,500, which was in Smith Falls, or something 2,000 last year. The one thing that I get from every fan is that they love their team so much and they know their players inside and out. It's really amazing. It's makes it so much more enjoyable doing it that it's such a close knit community.
For sure. And that's what's special about senior hockey. And that's one of the things that
Yes.
brought Brad and I kind of into senior hockey was that small town atmosphere. Anybody can pay $1,000 to go to a Leaf game and sit in a library and watch them lose. But, for
Yeah.
trust me, I can't make too many jokes. Look behind me.
No,
But
it's just truth. It's just the truth.
it's the truth. And why not spend 10, $15, go out, watch guys that, have played major junior, have played, local junior hockey, junior B, junior C. And,
Right,
some of these guys that played in Europe and played in the AHL, played in the ECHL, some guys were lucky enough to be close down here to watch guys that played multi-year careers in the NHL. And,
mm-hmm.
just to get to do that on a Friday or Saturday night for a few bucks, get a couple beers, hang out with the buddies, or for in our sake, not drink any beer and call the game. Either way, it's a really cool experience, and we're happy to bring you on as, like I said, our Capital Conference expert, because it's far away for us, and it's really a lot closer to home and a lot closer to the heart for you. And I know that we're going to get the opportunity to meet each other and maybe even call a couple games opposite each other or with each other at this upcoming Outlaw tournament, which is going to be a dream come true for a lot of us. But we got to get there first.
Yeah.
And NPHL playoffs begin this weekend. For the Metro guys that are watching, we're going to have that in the second half of this episode. We're just going to be talking Capital Conference here with Billy. So if you don't know much about the Capital, hang in there, stick around, and he's going to give us the breakdown. What we're going to do is very similar to what we did with Andrew Rogers last week on our OEHL playoff preview. We're going to look at these series that are coming up in the first round. Billy's going to give us a little bit of insight on what he feels in the direction of the series and players to watch or things he's excited to see. And then Brad and I and Billy are going to make our picks in order of Billy. If you want to, obviously, when we pass it over to you and the floor is yours, if you want to conclude your statement with your pick, and then I'll go after that, and then Brad can wrap us up for our picks segment, because the people at home, the players, the owners, they always love to hear the picks because they can use it as fire. I know we made a couple picks on our OEHL show that are not working out for us. And I know there was a few words said in a couple of those dressing rooms about, well, how about those blocking biscuits guys? Hey, I heard they picked against us in 4, and look who's got the series lead. So be careful with what we say, but also have a lot of fun with it. So
Yeah.
I've heard it was bulletin board material at some point, like playing on a loop in a dressing room type of thing. So, but on this one, don't trust Trey and I on this one. Trust Billy's picks. If you're doing any side gambling, trust Billy on this one.
Yep, NPHL gambling opens tonight. We got the odds thanks to Mr. Billy Boal. But Billy, obviously one division, the Pioneer division, kind of in that Ottawa area / a couple of teams in Quebec, crazy enough. 5-team division. So we have to have one game play in. That's going to be the first series. We're going to talk about. I love the idea of a one game play in. I know it doesn't work in some leagues, but it's like college hockey. It's like the World Juniors. you leave it all on the line. One game decides your fate. Can't wait to see it. Obviously, Outlaw Tournament's going to be very similar to that coming up. So we kind of get a little taste of it here with the 4 and 5 seed in the Pioneer Division. That is the 4 seeded Pagan Falls Rapids and the Arna Pryor Rivermen, who are fairly dead even in stats. What are you expecting? I know you worked with Arn Pryor in the past, so don't homer the pick. But no, I'm just kidding. Give us your insight and what are you expecting in this best of one?
Well, it should be a really good series. Iron Pryor, when they were West Carleton, won the first championship in the league way back in 2019. And Adrian Moyes does a great job in holding that organization together. It's such a team effort out there in Iron Pryor, and but Pagan Falls, I'm telling you, they are such a passionate fan base, and they're really they have. I think there's 3 Pecks on the team now that really work well together. And their organization is a tough team to beat. But I have to give the advantage to Arm Pryor, or yeah, to Arm Pryor just because of their goaltending. Carlin Lyle is one of the best. He doesn't his numbers do not represent how great of a goaltender he faces at times 60 to 70 shots a game, and he can steal a series for you. All he's got to do is be incredible for one game, and Moyes, Coglietta, and some of the boys out there, they can put the puck in the net. We've seen them play Barry's Bay. I think it was last weekend, and Carlin Lyle just about stole the game for Arn Pryor. I was saying in the opening that don't look at his numbers. I think he averages 6 goals against, but he's a terrific goaltender and can come up with some amazing saves. So if I were going to give the edge, I definitely would give it to Arn Pryor. But it's going to be a great game. Pogham Falls is not a team to lay down. We've only done one game out there because it was almost a 4-hour drive.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere was amazing. They built their own stands. They built this viewing area that was up and off to the left. It was fantastic. So Arn Pryor by 1 goal.
Our Pryor on the road. That's the only thing that I'm looking at. When I look at the stats, they're very close. I do agree with you on the goaltending with Arm Pryor, but you got to factor in the travel. Obviously, crossing provincial borders is going to be tough. Arm Pryor is not a team that is going to shy away. They're going to travel because, I mean, it's a 1 game date, right? I mean, what are you going to say? I'm saving it for next game, coach. It's 1 game. But I think I'm going to take the home team in this matchup. I think I'm going to go with Pagan. They've kind of had like a tale of 2 seasons. They got off to a good start and then they kind of middled in the middle. And then, a little bit cool at the end. I just, best of one. I like the odds of the home team. I think home ice advantage is going to play a factor. So what are you thinking, Brad?
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth there. It's for a 1 game, no, for a 1 game playoff series. I usually lean home team, so that's why I got to go with the Rapids on this one.
All right. Well, we got 2 in favor of Pagan, and we got Billy going with Arm Pryor. And again, who's the expert? I think you're going to find out. But no, great insight, Billy, on that one, and we appreciate you for that. And we got to switch it over now to the western side of, as weird as it sounds, the western side of the eastern part of the league. But we got a team that's hosting the tournament this year. They are fired up. I mean, they got Tate Leeson. This kid's an unbelievable hockey player. I mean, I watch tape of this guy and I'm like, whoa, oh my goodness. Like he stands out like Brad. I'd compare him to a Brendan Feasy with the wheels of a guy like Brandon Buck. So for the guys in the Metro, that's a really big compliment for Tate Leeson. We're holding him to some high standards and I can't wait to watch him play in a couple of months. But Smith Falls, Tamworth, it's going to be a matchup of basically the opposite in terms of record. Tamworth, a tough season, Billy. Smith Falls, a powerhouse. Give us your insight and obviously it's a best of 3 for the fans at home. We'll put a little display graphic on the screen as we introduce the series that I'm going to whip up tonight. But yeah, it's a best of 3 in the Capital Conference for the first round. So Billy, what do you think? It's Smith Falls best team. They won the NPHL regular season championship in terms of points. And Tamworth just 1 win on the season, but they're a hardworking team. What do you got for us?
Well, they knocked off the defending champions last season in the playoffs. Gananoque to face North Dundas in the finals last year and gave North Dundas their best run. Even against Manotick, Smith Falls in my opinion, gave North Dundas the best run for their money. And this year they've just gotten better. Like I can't believe how much better they've gotten. Tate Leeson, I'm not 100% sure the guys that you're talking about, but Tate Leeson is one of, if not the best players in the league. He's led the league in goals and points the last 2 seasons. And he's supported by some incredible players, McKenny, Brett Costello, great captain over there. And they've added, this is something that they did not need. They were a really feisty team, anyways. But Graham Brown won Defensive Player of the Year last year, best defenseman, and he is now part of their organization. So they are loaded. They really are a loaded hockey club. And one of the best goalies in the league, one of the best puck players. He hasn't lost yet this year. He's 10-0, Dallas Slack. Um, so it's literally David versus Goliath in that round. And the thing about Tamworth, though, is they're not a team that they wear their hearts on their sweaters. They come out, they battle as hard as they can every single game, and a lot of guys that are in that lineup give it their all every single game. Dryden Bedard, though, he is going to have to steal the show. Their goalie. He's faced the most shots in the league this year. Last year when he was with the Phantoms, he was absolutely incredible. But I'm going Smith Falls back-to-back wins. But I know Tamworth won't lay down, but Smith Falls is just too good. They're just a powerhouse, as you say.
For sure. They're the top team in the league, right? It speaks
Yeah.
for itself. I know that, being the President's Trophy winner in the NHL is usually not a good thing, but in this league, at this level, with the talent that they have on the ice, I think right now, if we had, Bet365 making odds on the Outlaw tournament, I think that that Smiths Falls would probably be the outright favorite right now,
Absolutely.
as of right now, and that's why I gotta agree with you. I think I love the Florida Panthers look to them. I love
Mm-hmm.
the tie-in with the history with the provincial park and everything. I just think it's I think everything's going well for them this year. They have a great crowd. Like you said, they can put 2,000 in the building. And this is the first step. But, expect Tamworth to, come out and like you said, lay their hearts on the line, go out and know that they're playing for the sweater, playing for the logo on the front of the sweater. And I do take Smiths Falls in two. I think that that's just a safe pick here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make it a clean sweep. Well, I'm gonna pick Smiths Falls in two. I think Tamworth's gonna give them some trouble though. I think it's gonna be one of those series where it's the NCAA 1 versus 16 type of thing, where that 16 seed just they give you a bit of trouble. They get in your kitchen and they make you sweat a little bit. But I still think it'll be Smiths Falls in two.
All
Yeah.
Tamworth has to do is get up by one, force Smith Falls to press and make mistakes. But that's really got to be their goal. Get up early. Smith Falls are a runaway team when they get going.
Oh yeah.
Really
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah, they score in bunches, right? That's
Yes.
that's one of the things that makes them, the best team in the NPHL. The congratulations to them, by the way. I can't wait to obviously meet everybody up there. Like I said, we're a couple months away, so I'm jumping the gun. But congratulations to Smiths Falls on the regular season championship and taking home officially the one seed at the Outlaw tournament coming up. So. But we're looking at it now. We're going to switch over to the opposite side of the West, the Highlands division, a division you're very close with. So we expect the most expert analysis here, or else our old buddy Bill Newman is going to give us he's going to give us a hard time because first series are going to break down the Deserano Bulldogs and the County Royals. Deserano again, division winner. What are you looking for from this series? I don't think it'll be as much of potentially a blowout as that last series we just talked about. I think the county has beat Deserano head to head once this year. So, what are you looking for, Billy? And at the end of the day, give us your insight.
Well, Wellington County is one of those teams that you can't let hang around. I mean, they were playing Durham. We had their game on the weekend as well, and Durham looked like they were sleeping in the first little bit. Wellington just took it right to them. Durham got three straight, and Wellington came right back to make it 3-2. They're a team that they can really surprise you and do a lot of really great things. Their goaltending, I can't remember his first name, but Dyer is his last name. He's a really great goalie for Wellington. But they have a really feisty group over there, which really counters what Deserano likes to do. Like if you put a burr in their saddle, they really start to lose focus. They have such a talented team, but you start hitting them and all that type of stuff, they start getting away from what makes them really good. And I
Mhm.
think Wellington is a great matchup for them, um, to give them a lot of trouble in the first round to make it really interesting. But Deserano in the last three, including this one, the last three seasons, I have spoken to a lot of the players, the coaches, the fans. They feel like they have a team to win it, and they
Yeah.
haven't really changed their team a whole bunch. It doesn't change a ton, except for losing a couple of guys. But they're still an incredibly incredibly well off in on the defensive end, goal scoring, everything throughout their lineup. But they have two goalies that are number ones in the league. Corey Kuipers and Aaron Young. They both could have been in the All-Star game this year. Kuipers was in it last year. Young was in it this season. They still have a lot of leadership. And Rogalski's not the captain anymore. Luke Brown is. Luke Brown has taken that team on his shoulders, and everyone stands 3 or 4 inches taller when he's on the ice. But Deserano is they're a really, really good team. And Smith Falls, I know, is the team that is the big pick to come out of that conference. But Deserano is a club that they're just waiting for it. They feel like they've got it. The Dog Pound's a hard place to play in, and you know, I think Wellington will take a game. I think they will take one, but I'm giving it to Deserano 2 games to 1. Just specifically, they're a very deep hockey club. The one thing that I think that Wellington can do really well is body them, hit them, and get Deserano off their game and get to the penalty box. But I'll say Deserano in 3.
Okay. It's weird because this is the only portion of our playoff preview where we have to pick in 3, and it does change your perception. You're like, wait, if they do steal a game, like that's basically a game 7, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
wow, it's crazy. But you look at Deserano, I mean, I got the numbers in my head. I know their power plays operating around 30%. Their penalty kills up over just slightly over 80%. So above average special teams. But like you said, I work for a team I'm wearing on my hat that's a very similar team where they can get under you can get under their skin in the wrong way. They can take a lot of bad penalties, and if the penalty kill doesn't step up, it can cost you. But the pound for pound, I think the skill, and like you said, Luke Brown's the leader of that team, one of the top scorers in the entire NPHL. I personally think that Deserano is going to take it in 2 games. And I'm sorry to our old friend of the show, Christian Crystalin, who's the backup goaltender in county and an amazing person. Awesome dude, awesome interview. I'm sorry, Christian. Use it as bulletin board if you have to. I do apologize to the Bulldogs if I get the county fired up, but I think Deserano takes it in 2.
My first note from this series was Christian Crystalin, old friend of the program, and obviously our friend Mr. Bill Newman, the voice of the County Royals. And for that reason, I'm going to make a homer pick. You know, 2 friends of the show. I'm going to take County Royals in 3.
The upset, our first upset of the show.
I couldn't do it to Crystalin and Newman.
Brad comes out of left field. I think Deserano, when we go up to the outlaw tournament, Brad might have to hide in one of those janitor closets when Deserano comes in after he made that pick because the boys are going to be fired up. But
We've only had to hide it. We've only had to hide a couple times when we've gone to games, so it's not uncommon.
it happens. That's the nature of the podcasting business. But no, Brad with the first upset. But appreciate you, Billy, because you're very close with Deserano, and that's a pick I trust, and I'm counting on you to make sure this pick pays off. So
Johnny Hill, Jordan Cannons. There's just Noah Brandt. They're just so loaded. I don't
yeah,
know. It's going to be a great series. It's going to be a really good series.
for
Big
sure,
time.
best of 3. Everything intensifies to the absolute maximum, and I can't wait to see it. And speaking of, I mean, one of the best teams, we've mentioned it a few times. We're throwing the name out here and there, but a team that has won pretty much every championship, like you said, outside of what was it, just 2 championships out of the 5 that were USHL. Am I
And
correct?
they weren't. Yeah, they weren't in the very first one. They were in seasons 2, 3, 4, and they went. They've been to the finals 4 straight years, won back to back, then lost again in Aquay, and then won against Smith Falls last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the North Dundas Rockets, a team that is deep. They have veteran presence. They add some young talent every year. The couple of new guys just pop in and seem to, light the world on fire. But those veterans that carry the team, they have great goaltending. One of the best goaltenders in the entire NPHL. They're going head to head with South Grenville from Prescott, Ontario. Uh, I mean, you just look at the matchup. Give us your insight, because North Dundas right now, outside of Smiths Falls and maybe Alvinston down here in the Metro, I think they're a safe bet if I was a betting man to say could win the whole thing.
100%. You can't. It's hard to bet against a team that last season lost Ryan Lau and Brett Gustafson, 2 of their big cornerstone players, to Manitic. And Manitic was loaded before they got those 2 players, and still North Dundas um, walked through the regular season. They were incredible in the playoffs, battled big time against a lot better conference than it was the year before, and still won the whole championship. So I could never bet against North Dundas. South Grenville's a great team. They do a lot of things well, but North Dundas is just they're loaded. Brock Higgs, and the other one that I was looking for was Kevin Domingue. He is phenomenal. Those two guys coming over from GAN. And like you say, Matt Jenkins, one of, if not the best puck playing goalie in the league.
Oh
He
yeah.
is positionally sound. He's fast, and he never rattles. I got to interview him 2 seasons ago, and the fan base out there is incredible. Once you go into North Dundas into Chesterville, it's really hard to come out of there with 2 points. So yeah, I've got to go with North Dundas for in two. Sorry to South Grenville, but North
It's
Dundas is
okay.
just a polished organization out there. It's incredible.
They are a professionally run organization in a senior hockey league, and that's, they're outstanding. And I mean, you don't win 3 out of 5 championships by accident, right? And that's coming from a guy who works for a team that won 2 out of 4 championships. And so I know I've been around it. I know what it's like, and I'm gonna stick right with you. I got North Dundas in 2. I'm sorry, Brad. I know you're Mr. Upset over there. I love the Rangers. I love how they're conjoined. They're very community oriented with the junior Rangers and the senior Rangers branded together. I love that. I wish more senior hockey would do that, where the junior teams acknowledge and the senior teams acknowledge each other and they feed off one another. Because what you do is you create a feeder system where you get these junior C kids coming up, and they can be standouts and they can learn and they can develop within senior hockey, because realistically a lot of junior C kids aren't going to chase the dream of going and playing college hockey, or maybe even D3 in the NCAA. Those kind of things are unrealistic for a lot of those kids, not because they don't have talent, just because of the title. So to have a senior team in one of the best senior leagues in the world, I give my hats off to Grenville. But again, like I said, North Dundas and 2, I think they're going all the way.
Well, you said it, Trey. You know how much I love an upset. But no, North Dundas in 2. I just everything I've seen from North Dundas this season tells me they're going to go far in these playoffs, and yeah, it's going to be North Dundas in 2.
Led
Well,
by Derek Froats and Fabian Walsh and even Beveridge. He's huge over there. He's just
oh
massive
man,
for
look at their
Wall.
look at their score sheet, right? Like look at their you see teams, and I mean you see Smiths Falls, you see Manitic, you see down here, you see the Alvinstons and those teams that they have. Most of these teams have 1 or 2 guys that have 40, 50 points, and you're like, wow, that's incredible. But North Dundas has, the list goes on. They have multiple, they have like 10, 12 guys with more than 18 points on the year. Like this is a
So much
20 game
fire,
season.
so
This
much firepower on that
this is a
team.
20 game season. You have a dozen guys that have over or right around a point per game. Like that's incredible, and that just shows their depth. And I'm really excited to see what they have in store in this playoffs. And it all gets started, like we said, this weekend. And a team that we can't talk about yet because the play-in has to occur first, the Manitic Mariners. Manitic, even before I was employed here at Blocking Biscuits, Manitic was kind of like the Blocking Biscuits gang favorite. They were the #1 team on the power rankings forever, and we can't wait to talk about them. They're obviously going to be facing the winner of Pogon Falls and Arnprior, but that takes care of the 1 versus 4 matchups. We'll get to you, Manitic. Maybe we'll call Billy and we'll just do a little 10-minute next before the series, but once we find out the winner, and we'll be able to talk about Manitic, because some of those guys, again, man, a team. Billy, if you want to just touch on them quick, that's a team that could easily run the table and go undefeated at the Outlaw, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Absolutely. They're not a team. They're not an organization that messes around. Like they came into the league hot, first time in the league last season, and they loaded up with talent. I watched the free agent signings and their trades and all that nonsense. I'm going, how do they have room for him? Oh, they're adding another. How do they have room for him?
Mm.
And then at the end, they picked up Lau and Gustafson. And you just look at the roster, and Jonathan Sear, he is one of the best players in the league. He doesn't get
Yep.
as much recognition because of how loaded they are. Burke Berkeley, one of my favorite names in the entire league to
Yes, that's
say.
You know,
amazing.
Tip of the cap to his parents for naming him Burke Berkeley. I think that's fantastic. But they're not a team that jokes around. They aren't a
No.
team that is in it for second place. They want first, and Manitic is going to be incredibly difficult. And they are going to give of every team in that side of the Capital, I think they're going to give North Dundas their biggest run until they face Smith Falls, Deserano, possibly.
Mhm.
They're going to be their biggest nemesis. And I think they have a huge rivalry too, which is fantastic. It's
They
it's
do.
wonderful when they play each other.
They do. And I remember their fans were all over Blocking Biscuits when they dropped them out of the number one spot after that first loss. And they were like, the fans, if you're listening and you're a Manitic fan, come at us if you have to. Give us all the crap that you want. You know what? The engagement in the comments, we absolutely love it. I'm speaking on behalf of the entire Blocking Biscuits team, not just Brad and I, who are kind of the voices. Everybody here loves that you guys come at us. You guys are engaged. Manitic was right away out the gate sharing our posts, sharing the graphics and all that stuff that, I wasn't even there for all that, but, to hear the way that the people here at Blocking Biscuits still talk about Manitic, I think that if we had a Blocking Biscuits roundtable of everybody involved here, I think Manitic would probably be everybody's pick to go all the way and maybe even be the outlaw champion. But obviously,
Mhm.
only time will tell, Billy. We got to switch it up to the I like the 2-3 seed matchups on all of the divisions across the whole league, because those are typically teams that are very tight. You don't see a lot. Like, I know down our way, Strathroy probably could have been a 1 seed in many of these divisions, and they got the 2 seed. But up there, we look at the way that things have balanced out, the way things have played out. We got some really, really good series coming up, and the one we're going to talk about first, another one that's close to home for you, is Lindsay and Durham. Man, those teams went back and forth all year. They had a game go to the shootout. You
Oh yeah.
got you got two-time Stanley Cup champion Brian Bickle, who's going to show up for Durham in the playoffs as a 3 seed, to have a guy who's a bona fide NHLer showing up for you. And Lindsay's a team that they could be one of those sleeper teams to give Deserano a run for their money in the second round. Like, this is a great matchup. What do you got for us for the 3-4 in Lindsay, who is of course the 2 seed, and Durham, the 3 seed?
Every single game has been close. The first two games were the exact same score, 6-5. I remember saying on the broadcast in the third game, it was 6-5. I think Lindsay tied it up to make it 6-6. I couldn't believe that we're actually going to have a different score, but these two teams know how to score. They have great goaltending as well. Stefan Horn and Alex Lepizera on the side for Durham, and they do a great job. Like, they do an excellent job. But it's Adam Wisco. He's the guy who he could steal it for Lindsay. Like, he's a terrific goaltender. I really like him in the nets, but Durham. I was saying this all year that Durham picking up a bunch of the aside from there's 7 Tweed Oil Kings
Mhm.
amongst these two teams, and Tweed had a really incredible team before they let these guys go. They still have a great team. We'll kind of probably talk about them in a few minutes here, but Chris Porter, there's a bunch of guys on Lindsay that can really light the lamp. They have a really solid team, but Durham up and down the lineup, I just wanted to get them up so I didn't miss anybody. But Andrew Reinhold, I'm pretty sure he leads the entire NPHL in career goals, and
Mhm.
he is a guy that if they're down by a goal, he's going to score. I mean, I brought that up in the one broadcast. My son looked over and be like, "Wow, Dad, that was incredible." I'm like, "I kind of cheated. Rhino does it all the time. It's not really all that fair." But guys like Nat, I'm just going to go through a couple names here, and the people in the Capital Division, they'll understand this. Justin Lemke, Austin Jeffers, Dakota Betts, Taylor Best was a leader in Durham and all throughout his NPHL career. Then you go, of course, Brian Bickle. You guys were talking about 3-time Stanley Cup champion, and little guys like Josh St. Hill who don't get a lot of recognition. He's a little water bug out there. They have such a fantastic hockey club, and they have not been able to get it together this season. They're 10-8-1, I think they are this year. It is not. It can't be that because that's only 19 games.
11,
11, 8, and
11, 8,
1.
and 1. Yeah.
11-8-1. It is not a representation of that team. Like, they are a sleeper pick, in my opinion. Once the playoffs start, and if they can get all their guys to the arena, they could be a team that could challenge, really, a team that could challenge Deserano and Smith Falls to upset them
Mhm.
to go to the finals. Um, and I say that as a guy that's done a lot of games, but I watched the County Royals broadcast. I watched Smith Falls. I watch all those guys. But Durham is a really good hockey team, and you can't sleep on these guys. They're going to be great. But it is going to be 2-1 Durham, and the goal differential may be 3 goals. Two,
Yeah.
3 goals throughout the entire playoffs. It's going to be one of the best series. We're going to cover the game on Saturday in Little Britain, which I've got to find out where that arena is because I never even heard of it before. But we're going to be
It's
doing that.
about 20 minutes outside Lindsay there.
Oh, so it's still like 2.5 hours away from Kingston, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
Awesome.
was hoping it would be right
A
outside of
little
Kingston.
closer, yeah. But and we love the drives too. That long drive, just real quick, we love the drive. We get to talk and all that stuff, and
Mhm.
we have a good time. But I am really pumped for that series. Hopefully, I mean, it'd be 4 days in a row, but hopefully it goes all three in the games on Tuesday, and we can go and do that game as well. But yeah, that's going to be an amazing series. Don't miss it. If somebody's broadcasting it, you've got to watch that series. It's going to be amazing.
For sure. Well, that's one of the things that we wanted to do when we got involved is expand on what you're doing and help bring the broadcasting to the NPHL and make it not just, a game of the week kind of thing, but make it a
Hmm.
standard, right? And like you said, it would be a shame to have people have to miss a game in this 3 game series that I think is going to be wonderful. Like I said, I have watched from afar, but those two teams caught my eye all year, and it always seemed like when they played each other, like you said, was the one game, was it 8-7 in the shootout? I think it
Shootout.
was.
Yeah.
Oh my
And the
goodness.
shootout
Like,
went on forever.
yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
10-round shootout. Like these two teams are so tight, but here's where I say but. We are obviously closer down here, and I hate always comparing everything, but last year we saw Strathroy, who reminds me a lot of Durham, a team that was under 500 in the regular season. They finished with the 7th seed in our former league. They went and they upset the 2 seed, and then they upset the 1 seed, and they went all the way to the final. And Durham, I feel like that's going to be a story that we're going to tell a similar story this year. And I have just banking on it. I think Durham's going to squeak out of this series in 3, just as you picked, Billy. But I think watch out Deserano next round. We both picked them to go through. I think we could see Durham run the table, honestly.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Brad, what do you
Absolutely.
got?
I'm full of homer picks tonight. That's the theme of my picks is just homer picks. I lived in Lindsay for a year, did my post grad at Fleming College, so at Fleming College. So I'm gonna stick with the. I love that town. I love the community. So I'm gonna stick with the Barn Cats. I'm gonna take Lindsay in 3.
It's going 3. That's already
Oh yeah,
decided.
100%. And it just takes that one game. And like I said, homer pick, but got to represent the town I lived in.
Love it.
Steve out there runs that organization incredibly well as well. Steve Trumbull, he does a great job. They have a great and a beautiful arena as well. Great fan base.
Mhm.
It's not a bad pick.
For sure. I think there's not a loser in terms of those picks. I think that
No.
it could go either way. And that's why I'm so excited. That's why I said the 2-3, in a bigger conference, you'd get like a 4-5. That's the kind of matchups that always hit hard in the first round. That's why we're excited to see it. And speaking of that, you just mentioned the Tweed Oil Kings. I know a couple of guys. I worked in Tilsonburg with the Tilsonburg Thunder. Um, they brought a couple of those guys over a couple of years ago who were making a long trip. It was Brandon Kudo and Sheldon Thompson. Those two guys are still two of the top players in the entire NPHL, so it's pretty cool to see. I got to meet them. They had nothing but good things to say about the Tweed Oil Kings organization. They are the 2 seed in the Heritage under Smith Falls. They are taking on the Westport Lumberjacks. What do you got for us, Billy?
Immediately shout out to Chuck, Brooksy, and to their entire organization. I don't want to leave anybody out, and I know that I will. They
Mhm.
were a huge supporter of us and had us to a lot of their games. They had us out to their golf tournament. They could make their arena a little less cold. That would be one thing. We're at the All Star game sitting there for 6 hours, and it was absolutely uncomfortable. But this is something that I had written down because I knew I wouldn't be able to remember all the names on here. I do apologize. It's probably not all the best looking, but just listen to this real quick. Andrew Reinhold, Luigi Martone, Will Jones, Mackenzie Smith, Kenny Murdoch, Darren Doherty, Zach Elson, and Tyler Maloshin. For guys that know the Tweed Oil Kings, they lost all of those guys this year. And they have been cornerstones to that organization for such a long time. And I
Mhm.
thought they were done. I thought they were bottom of the conference. They were, if anything, they would be in that, right at the bottom. There was no way that you could lose that many guys and still be a talented hockey club. But where they are right now, and the Bratney boys, they're turning up and being incredible. It's an organization that is as passionate as you can get in the entire NPHL. They have a really great goaltending tandem in Lovies and Emo. They have a great fan base, and you cannot count them out. There's no way that you can count them out. They're they're a really great hockey team, and I'm really surprised and proud of them for how well they've done this season with losing all those great hockey players. They're playing, aren't they playing Westport, aren't they? Yeah, the
Yeah,
Westport.
Lumberjacks.
Westport Lumberjacks. Yep.
That's where Justin went out to. They're a really good team as well. Another passionate group. Justin and I were actually talking this week about Smulders and the boys out there that they've really come together as a group. It's been difficult for them at times, but they've just been getting better and better as the season went on. Lost some games that they shouldn't have because they're a really great hockey club. And Justin, I love you, brother, big time. But I'm going with Tweed specifically because what I always say is going through adversity makes you a stronger team. You
Hmm.
can't go and be a 20-0 team and then all of a sudden you're down 2-0 in the first game. You're going to lose because you don't know what it's like to be down. Tweed is a team that um, I'm not going to say they're going to come out of that conference. It's just too big of a wall, Smith Falls and Deserano and stuff. But if any team was going to do it, I mean, we're talking about Durham as well. They're in that category where they don't know the word quit, and it would have been easy for them at the beginning of the year to just mail it in after losing all those guys. So a lot of respect to them. I give it in three, definitely in three, because Westport's a great team as well. And I don't know how to say the goalie's last name. Joel Hordachuk is what I want to call it, but I'm pretty sure that I'm wrong. It's 37 letters in the back end of his name. So
Joel, message us on
yes,
Blocking Biscuits and tell us exactly how to say your name, brother. Because
terrific.
we'll get all the phonetics out of the way for you. Because that's the one thing Blocking Biscuits has is the connection across the whole province. So we'll try to get Joel to. All jokes aside, though, I'm going with my boys from Tillsonburg days, Kudo and Thompson. I'm going with the Tweed Oil Kings again. I don't know much about that division. Tweed's a town that I drive through when I go visit family in Ottawa, and I stop in and grab a coffee. It's not somewhere that I'm very familiar with, but knowing those guys personally, and hearing all the good things about the organization, like you said, despite losing all those guys, nothing but good things to say about the way that the organization treats their players, the how fun the bus trips are, etc. I got to go with Tweed. I think they're going to take it in three.
Yeah, I think I'm going to make it a clean sweep for Tweed. I think they get it in two though. I've seen a lot of good things from this Tweed team. Like you said, Billy, they lost a lot of good players, but they have come back and they've rebuilt. And no, I think they do it in two.
All right, that's a
And one more
sweep.
shout out to
Mhm.
Super Dave, the voice of the Oil Kings. He's a great guy. There's if you look on our NPHL Central YouTube, I share it all the time because it was him and I having an interview, and the boys are throwing beer cans at him and stuff like that. We try to bleep out some of his swear words, but we had such a good time. It was great. But shout out to Super. That's all I want to say to that.
Perfect. We
Shout out
can't wait
Super
again.
Dave.
Any one of you guys that are on the media side of it, and you guys are coming up to Outlaw, shoot us a message at Blocking Biscuits, and then the Blocking Biscuits guys will put us in touch with you guys because we're looking to really hang out with everybody and bring all these great hockey minds from this league all together in one place. From like I said, Tilbury, Ontario to Shawville, Quebec is a long drive. That's a 10-hour drive. That's how big this league really is. So put that in perspective. Any of you guys that are heading up to the tournament, let us know. We're excited. But again, we got a couple more series to break down before we wrap things up for the night. We're going to go back to the top with the North Dundas division. That's the Frontier. South Starmount Mustangs finished in the 2 seed. And then I am so sorry because I always nearly mess up their name when I say it, but it's Aquanace. Am I correct on that, Billy?
Aqua
Aquanace?
Aquasasni.
Oh my, see, look at there we go. I messed it up before I even thought. Can you say it one more time for the folks in
Aquasasni Wild. Aquasasni.
Aquasasni.
Aquasasni. Yeah.
Aquasasni. Okay.
I've had to write it down 300 times to
Yeah.
put it into my notes, and I still spell it wrong. So
I
it's all
looked at
right.
the matchups and I was like, oh crap. The Wild
Please,
here.
please clip this whole segment.
Yeah, this is gonna go viral right here. And for the people that want to laugh at us, please do because it's gonna be funny. But the Wild, I'm just gonna say the Wild, and they're not Minnesota, but love the way that they've been community involved this first year. I love the jerseys. I love
Oh
it. I'm
yeah.
a big Flyers fan. Well, our minor league affiliate for years, obviously Philadelphia Phantoms, now the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, the way that they incorporate the orange and the purple
Their
and
helmets.
it just comes together, man.
Hmm.
I what do you got for us in this series?
So Aquasasni reminds me of Durham. They have another team that I find can be very very elusive when it comes to the record. It's shocking that they are where they are. We did their first game of the season out there in Akwesasne. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time out there. But seeing Chris Newhook and Thomas Vesna with Saborin and all those, but it just it's surprising to me that they are, I think, four, and I just seen it on there.
Yeah, they're
4-14
four.
and two.
Yeah,
Four
4-14
fourteen
and
and
two.
two.
That
Yeah.
is
Yep.
not right. That's not. Once the playoffs comes, they're going to make this a really great series, and
Mhm.
yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it shaping up the way that it looks. I mean, Isaac Barr, Mark Beckstead over there in South Stormont. This is the team that used to challenge North Dundas. They had a huge rivalry going. It was really, for the longest time, it was South Stormont, North Dundas. Which one of those two are going to come out of that
Yep.
conference, and it was seemed to always be North Dundas, obviously. But South Stormont's an incredible team. They have great goaltending, as I say, Barr, Beckstead, and all that stuff. And it's South Stormont definitely is going to win this, but Akwesasne is going to give it. I keep saying 3 games. I would love to go for a clean sweep, but so much respect for these guys. I've seen so much of their hockey, but
Mhm.
Thomas Vesna and Newhook, if they can come out and pull these guys along, I really don't see why they couldn't win it. But I would put my money on South Stormont. They have such a great hockey team, and I love their jerseys too.
Yeah, they again, that's a great jersey matchup
Yeah.
right there in round one. But I got
Hmm.
to agree, I got the Mustangs in two, just
Yeah.
because I feel that they are not only, it's you can't say more complete team in this league because a lot of these teams are very similar, but I just feel that the way that they've established their game over the years, I feel like it's going to come to the forefront here in the playoffs. I got the Mustangs over the Wild in a sweep in 2 games. What do you got, Brad?
Yeah, I've got the Mustangs in two, and I think everyone's looking forward to that North Dundas, so Stormont, series in the next round. I think
Mhm.
that's gonna be a good one. So I'm looking forward to that. But yes, I have the Mustangs in two.
And
All right.
Isaac Barr, again, one of the best players in the entire
Yeah.
capital. He's phenomenal.
For the players that are very good that we might not get the chance to see at the Outlaw, use this as a motivation that if you didn't win your division, if you win the league championship, you will be the wild card and you will be in Smiths Falls. So use it as motivation. You want to show off to the Blocking Biscuits guys. We can't wait to meet a lot of you guys. And I'm sure players from the teams, that aren't going to make it are still going to come up. Some of the guys will make the trip just because it's such a big event. But remember, if you win your league championship and you're not a division winner, we will see you in Smiths Falls. So one more 3-4 matchup to take care of. And this one's going to be, I mean, a team that exploded at the end of the season, really had a great finish to the year. Madawaska Valley, the Valley, the Wolves, and a team that started out really hot and then kind of cooled off as the year went along. The Shawville Pontiacs, who, by the way, again, beautiful logo, beautiful jerseys.
Oh God, yeah.
Love what they're doing in Shawville. Part of that Quebec expansion for the NPHL, trying to move up on the opposite side of the provincial border, right along that Ottawa Valley. What do you got for us in this, which is our final first round matchup to break down tonight?
This is going to be an incredible series. We've done every game but one, I think, on home ice for Barry's Bay, Madawaska Valley, and Shawville. Whenever they play them, it's always an explosive game. These two teams are not friends. They do not like each other very, very much, and for good reason. They've battled each other for that second, third seed, and Barry's Bay Madawaska Valley really needed home ice advantage. This team, since joining the league, is 30 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. They're the only team this year to be unbeaten at home. So it's a huge advantage for them to finally get a home ice advantage. And
Mhm.
but Shawville is not a team that's gonna. I got to see Aruda and Mantha at the All-Star game, and just seeing the speed that they have. My goodness, they're two incredible hockey players. Boaver in net, he's a great goaltender, and I mean, you kind of get lost in their jerseys playing against them. They're so nice. But on the Madawaska Valley side, I find that they are so underrated. But they picked up this guy Blake Menard. He's an incredible defenseman. He's alongside Jordan Ryan. Kelly Summers is one of the best players in the entire Capital Division. He's one of the best defensemen. Can take over a game. Devin Campbell, he does the Bobby Orr rush end to end. He can get back to his own zone before they pick it up. And then their front end, Jared Stay, he can he can score at the drop of a hat. But it's going to be an incredible matchup. Um, and it is. I will guarantee this one that it is going to go three,
Mhm.
because that will mean that me and James are going to do three straight games. And so it's not going to be done in two. And I'm going to give the third game to Barry's Bay because of the home record. But it's going to be another tight game, tight series, big time.
Can't wait. I mean, you're very close to, as
Yes.
you said, Barry's Bay or Madawaska Valley. For those at home that just see the website, but this is
And that there, I wanted to just really quickly, sorry, Trey, to cut
yeah,
you off.
of course.
Why we do so many of their games is because they reach out to us. They ask us, "Hey, would you like to do our games?" And I work with them and Lindsay and Durham and Wellington, Aquasasmi, where to try and figure it all out schedule wise. But they've reached out a lot, and they're very adamant about having us do their games. That's why we do so many. But we would have loved to do every single team in the NPHL this season.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Can't be
yeah,
everywhere at once,
I
right? So,
can't. There's only one of me and only one of James.
all right, I'm gonna go with my first upset of the day. I know you're really close to Barry's Bay, and I don't want to do it to upset you guys, but maybe I'll give your boys some fire. The Valley has been very active with blocking biscuits as well. Like I said, way before I even came on board, sharing graphics and things like that. But I think Shawville is a team that, they can go in there and they can put up a fight. And I think it's going to come down to game three, as you said. And I think Shawville's going to win the series in game three in overtime. I think it's going to be that close. So you get to be there to see it. But
Yes, indeed.
that's my first upset pick of the day. But these two teams are so even that really isn't even an
All three
upset.
could go to OT. Yeah,
That's
all
that's what
three.
I mean. We know Lindsay and Durham are going to
Oh
overtime
yeah.
every game. So let's see if this one goes the distance in game three and goes to OT. Brad, what do you got for us to round out our picks for this episode?
I think this series and Lindsay and Durham are going to be the most exciting series of that first round. And yes, I agree. This is going to three, but I'm not like you, Trey. I'm not going to make piss off our friends in the valley. So I am going to go with the Wolves in three.
All right, look at Brad Thompson playing it safe. Like the thing is right now is that if I believe if we're just breaking down the standings, I believe if things round out the way they do and say it's Smith Falls North Dundas in the final, and one of those two teams wins, it will be Madawaska that will be the other wildcard team. So Brad, smart play because now you don't have another team to make angry because you already pissed off Deserano. And we'll see how it goes. But we're running out of time tonight, Billy. I just want to thank you so much, man, for joining us tonight. Yeah,
It's
you're
been an
great,
honor.
great insight. I know you said to us beforehand it was your first time
Yeah.
on a hockey podcast. You're a natural, man. Keep doing what you're doing up there, and give your closing remarks for the folks at home, the folks up east. They're gonna be watching.
I greatly appreciated being on the show. Like I say, yeah, it's my first time. It has been a really a lot more enjoyable than I thought it would be. That's why I'm behind the mic, so I don't have to be on the camera. Um, but if you are anywhere around any of these arenas and you like hockey at all, it's $10 in most arenas. Get out and see these games. It is so much fun. I fell in love with this league. It could be because my Leafs are garbage now, but the Leafs are pretty good when I first got into the NPHL, but it is my new NHL. Like I watch more NPHL hockey than I do the NHL,
Mhm.
even my Leafs, and it is it's a special league that's just small towns across Ontario into Quebec that just love hockey, and it's fantastic and passionate players that give it all every single game. And I could go on for another hour just talking about how much I love this league, but I really appreciate you guys having me on here. And my son as well wanted to say thank you for helping to expose the league. And you guys do an incredible job. We watched the one with John, and then I've watched all the rest of them in pieces. Um, it's really incredible. You guys are awesome, and I couldn't appreciate this more, guys. Thanks for
Thanks a
dragging me
lot, Billy.
along through this. I
You want to
appreciate
tell
it.
quickly plug the NPHL YouTube
Hmm.
where people can find your broadcasts of the games you'll be calling. Shout out the YouTube channels and let the people know where they can find it.
NPHL Central on YouTube. I'll be sharing it all up on Facebook as well, and that's where I post all my stuff. So if you want to add me on Facebook as well, Billy
Mhm.
Boal, Boal. Yeah, get it and share it so more people can see this league. It deserves to be shared. The stars in the league deserve to be exposed, and for the stars that they are, and guys like you make it happen. It's been an honor, guys. Seriously, a privilege. Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it, Billy. And you hang in there. We'll be talking to you before round two. And obviously, we'll be seeing you in Smiths Falls later on this year. Although it's quite the drive for both of us, I am looking forward to it
Look forward
mightily,
to
my
meeting you
friend.
guys.
For sure. All right, folks. On behalf of Brad Thompson, I am Treh Hamilton, and thank you to our special guest star, Mr. Billy Boal. Stick around. We'll be right back with our NPHL Metropolitan playoff breakdown featuring an old friend, I heard. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back. Stick around. All right, we are back with the second half of our NPHL playoff preview show. What a great time we just had with Mr. Billy Boal over covering the Capital side of things. Billy, first time on a podcast, you absolutely knocked it out of the park, brother. Thanks again for being with us, and thanks for the fans that tuned in for that half. Maybe you're from up in the Ottawa Valley area and you don't know much about the Metropolitan Division. Maybe you're curious. Well, the next half hour we're going to break down all things Metropolitan as we approach the postseason run. And we couldn't do it without a very special friend of ours, a guy that we go way back with. It seems like our last few episodes, we've had a few people on that we've known for a few years, and here we are meeting again in a new place. But welcome inside the show, our NPHL Metropolitan Division analyst on the Gateway side of things, specifically, a guy who does a great job with his play-by-play. He's very passionate, very intelligent man who knows the game of hockey, especially at this level. And he's one of the best guys to work with when it comes to the broadcast booth and on the podcast side of things, as Brad and I are both well aware. Welcome to the show, Mr. Joel Campbell. Joel, thanks for being here with us.
Hey, great to be with both of you again. It's just awesome. What a night for a reunion, I tell you. And it's playoff time makes it even better.
We couldn't have picked a better time to get everybody back together, the old gang back together, so to speak. But no, as we look ahead, Joel, you obviously work very close with the Alvinston Killer Bees. I got the Stratford hat. Brad's rocking the Halton Hills hat. So this is really our comfort zone, right? Brad and I are both involved with Orangeville as well. So we've been around these teams for quite a few years now, and we kind of know from an outsider's perspective. People would look at us and say these guys know what to expect. But honestly, Joel, just my roundabout thoughts, especially in the Gateway division, these playoffs could go any way, man, because any of those four teams on that side could win on any given night.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Like you said, a lot of history there. It's kind of like when you get a spin-off series, you've seen these four in a certain setting. Now these four in the Gateway are back in another setting, but a lot of the faces haven't changed. Neither have the rivalries, and so that intensity is there. There's been some great hockey this year. Just about every team in the division has beaten every other team once. I think there's only a couple of exceptions there. So it'll be a really interesting first round. And of course, that'll set the table because since playoffs start within the division, only one of those four teams, Tilbury, Stratford, Strathroy, or Alvinston, is going to make it out and go on to the Metro Championship.
Mm-hmm. What a way to line it up. I mean, we got, like you just said, Gateway side of things, Alvinston, the 1 seed. They win the Metropolitan regular season championship. I believe they finished 1 or 2 points behind Smiths Falls for the overall NPHL championship. So, obviously having a great year as they seem to do on repeat here. But right behind them, we got Strathroy, the veteran-led group that finished 7th place last year. And, everybody showed up at the playoffs. Well, here we are, 2nd seed. They added, I don't know, Brandon Prust, Ryan Martinelli, Mitch Fitzmaurice, the list goes on, Tucker Firth, Cole Keating, the guys they added to this team. Wow. And they're in the 2 seed. This is a team that could run the table in any senior hockey league, and they didn't even win their division in terms of regular season. So a lot to play for. And then obviously Stratford Irish, defending champs in the former league, come into this year with, a bit of a vengeance underneath them. They had a fiery start. things kind of in the middle of the season. They picked it up near the end of the year, got a couple big wins, and unfortunately, the 402 decided to hold off our final clash with the Bees. But all is well that ends well. And then you got the Tilbury Bluebirds. You look at the bottom of most of the divisions across this league. Tilbury is the gold standard of teams that finished in the 4 spot in their division. So it's gonna be really interesting. But we have another side of it as well, and that's the Loyalist division. Brad, you work inside the Loyalist division, man. You get to see all 4 of those teams on a regular basis. Tell us a little bit about the Loyalist and what we should expect.
Well, I think we kind of know what we're expecting going into that first round. Orangeville's been a powerhouse most of the season, but I think the biggest story coming out, we just dropped the episode a couple days ago, is the Six Nations Ironman. A little bit of a slower start, but now they've heated up. And after talking to Coach Davis there, he's got those boys ready, and I unfortunately think I'm in a world of hurt in the first round. But I'm looking forward to see what we can do with them in the first. I think it's going to go long. But I think they're kind of the feel good story of the Loyalist division.
Yeah, for sure. They've been very impressive. I mean, I've watched them throughout the year, obviously being, games in Stratford and in Six Nations and in Orangeville. I've got the pleasure and the opportunity to travel and watch a lot of these teams play. And I got to say, Six Nations is playing really good hockey right now. Obviously, that last matchup with Orangeville at home for them was kind of a bit of a heartbreaker. I know they're going to use that for fuel. They had Orangeville backs against the wall, man. Orangeville had a 5-game lead on Six Nations midway through this season. And it's only a 20-game season, so you'd think, well, 5-game lead, you're safe. Nope. Orangeville went on a slide, lost back-to-back games in the same weekend as Six Nations. The Ironmen put their foot down. They punched him in the mouth. I think the Blitz responded the way they had to. They're not an overly physical team, despite the size of the Blitz. You see Tyler Randall, you see Ben Thompson, you see Justin Auger, you see Keenan Suthers. These guys are mammoth human beings, but they're not an overly physical team. They're a skilled team. And Six Nations grinded them down, worked them hard in those 2 games, and then Orangeville came back around and returned the favor and won the division that night. So it's going to be a really interesting playoff. Obviously, Woodstock, excuse me, and Halton Hills, the bottom 2 teams, they still prove they can win games. You know what? Obviously, for formerly Richmond Hill, now Halton Hills, a lot of turnover. A lot of guys came and went. Guys signed elsewhere. Guys got traded around. And in Woodstock, you're a restart up franchise. Jeff had them playing in Plattsville years ago, and then they had their best season a couple years ago. They did not participate last year. They lost Christian Polillo, Kevin Hu, all these big names that were on that team that, some people thought were going to shock Tilbury in the first round a few years back. They're kind of building from the ground up again. They lost a lot of players at the trade deadline as well. So it's going to be interesting. Either way, Joel, Brad, myself, we're trying to tell you, this is going to be a really great first round, folks. So buckle up because we got some really good hockey on the way. So, as we've done with our other playoff preview shows, we have our guest insider on the show. So, what we'll do is we will line up each of the matchups. Brad and I'll get a graphic together, slap it up on the screen when we talk about the head to head matchup of these 8 opponents. And then, Joel, you can go first when we introduce the matchup. Give us your thoughts, your insight, and then make your pick who's going to win and in how many games for round number 1. Does that work with you, partner?
It sounds good to me. I think just before we start, I want to put a little word in. And the Strathroy Jets, all respect to them. To me, the rivalry of the league this year, although I watched that Blitz and Ironmen rivalry, and it was great too, just to see those 2 games the Ironmen had and how the Blitz responded. To me, the rivalry of the year was the Strathroy Jets and the Elvinston Killer Bees. You mentioned Trey Strathroy loading up on players, and the Killer Bees as well made some additions to their team, bringing across a couple of players from Tilsonburg that have made a big difference. Brandon Kudo, Sheldon Thompson, as well as tough, gritty, and offensive defensemen. And I think that was one thing that maybe in the prior season we talked about the need to play with defensive tightness and physicality. And we've seen the Bees do that recently. So it's going to be really interesting. But yeah, that sounds good to me. I've got the quote unquote advantage of going first. I don't know. I'm putting myself on a limb, but I'll give it my best shot. So
Well,
let's go, guys.
I think if we started off with bees and bluebirds, I think we already know where you're going with that one. So why don't we flip the script on you, Joel, and we'll go to
Sounds
the other.
good.
We'll go to the other division. We'll do both 1 versus 4, and we'll just start it off with the Orangeville Blitz and the Woodstock Lakers. You guys will see up on the screen there the head-to-head results from this season. It's a 1 versus 4. Give us your insight, Joel, and who do you got and how many games?
So, as much as I'm getting more used to the Woodstock Lakers, I wasn't a part of the previous league where an incarnation of the Lakers played. So I've had to familiarize myself with them this year. Got to see them play once in Alvinston, seen them play a few games, and more familiar with the Orangeville Blitz. And I've watched how they've played in previous years and this year, and just the stats and the way things have gone. This one was a little easier for me. Sorry, Lakers. I've got to go Orangeville Blitz in 4 straight games. I honestly believe the Blitz are going to be too much offensively, as well as with the goaltending ability of the Wall Masters there. And so, I think it's going to be a solid performance for the Orangeville Blitz. And I think they're going to be able to defeat the Lakers in 4 straight.
I love the insight, Joel, but I think if we had fines, we'd have to hit you with a fine there,
Oh, what
unfortunately,
did I mess up?
because Andrew Masters actually left the team mid-season and
I
elected.
did not know that.
Yeah,
Thank
he
you,
he.
Trey.
It's actually been the Wall and Ryan Mansell that's
Ryan
been holding down the
Mantle on the
fort.
Mantle,
wall.
sorry, I said Masters.
It's
I meant
okay.
Mantle, who,
That's
by
a
the way,
fine.
made probably the save of the year in the All-Star game. I apologize, Ryan, because no, the save, if you hadn't seen
Oh, I
it
saw
in
it.
the
Yeah.
breakaway challenge, my goodness, Ryan Mantle, my apologies. Maybe you can edit it out and make me look better. That is who I literally meant. But no, I think regardless, even if Masters was there, Mantle and the Blitz are still going to handle him.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's good insight on that part. We'll forgive you this one time,
oh,
but
thanks. I need some grace, boys.
for those for those who are watching that are OEHL fans, you all know obviously Masters currently playing with the Tavistock Royals, who as of this recording
Right.
have a 2-0 lead over the Aaron Outlaws, who Brad is very close to, as you can see up in his corner sign there, the original incarnation of a senior team in Aaron. Back-to-back shutouts for Masters as of this recording. So, but anyway, Joel gives us. I almost called you Brian there. Look, we're all making mistakes
Oh,
tonight.
see, I've started the scale off for the fines tonight. We're doing well, boys.
Well, Joel has given us the the Blitz in 4 chant. He's going to get it started, but no, I echo you there. I obviously work with Orangeville, and it's no disrespect to Woodstock. It's just a matter of this is a really good Orangeville team. And, do I think they're the best team in the NPHL Metro Conference? No, I don't. I think they have their flaws, but I do think that in terms of this matchup, there's just no questions asked. This is going to be a blitz sweep, 4 games, and we'll be on to the next. Brad, what do you got?
Yeah, I've seen both of these teams a lot this year, being in the division. We just took Woodstock at home for the final game of the regular season. It was 6-3. I've seen a lot of Orangeville games helping out over in that rink, and just everything you guys have said, spot on. I think it's gonna be a 4 game sweep. I think there's gonna be a couple games where Woodstock keeps it close, especially a couple of those home games in Woodstock. You never know with weather and stuff like that. Not that it's a huge hike from Orangeville to Woodstock, but yeah, I think it's gonna be a 4 game sweep for the Blitz.
Yeah, it's a matter of travel, right? This is senior hockey still. So, uh, but I still do believe, even if guys like Randall and Thompson and Gilmore and Southers, even without those guys, you look at the depth on that team, like Perovic and Marandola and Jacob Guest, and I know they do have a few injuries right now. Chatting with coaching staff and all-star head coach Nick Moniz did give me a little bit of insight, but I think that overall the mindset has shifted for that team. They got out of that losing streak, and they're looking to go on a run. They know they've clinched their spot in the Outlaw tournament, but they want to go and they want to win the Metro. That's their goal. It's not about the Outlaw. The Outlaw is the end prize, but for pride in and amongst the teams that you play all year, the Metro Championship is what they're playing for. So That is our 1-4 on the Loyalist side of things. And now we're going to switch over to the Gateway side of things. Joel, why don't you just take it right off the floor? We got the Elvis Killer Bees and the Tilbury Bluebirds, a historic rivalry that goes years back. What do you got for us?
So this is one I've actually, in terms of number of games, I've agonized over a little bit. My pick has not changed because of what I've seen before me, and not just because I called games for them, but because I've seen matchups between these teams, both in Alvinston as well as the road games. And as you know, Tilbury was able to pick up a win earlier this season. They were the first team in the Gateway to defeat the Alvinston Killer Bees. But that night, the lineups looked a little bit different for both teams. Some players in for the Bluebirds who we haven't seen for the rest of the season, some players missing for Alvinston that night. And I really went back and forth. My pick has been the entire time the Alvinston Killer Bees, but I wondered 4 games, 5 games. That's what I've been caught between, especially with the Tuesday nighter in there. That can always throw a curveball for any team, right? Is what do work schedules look like and things like that. But having witnessed the last few games, and even with hard play both ways and a close first period in both the third and fourth matchups that the teams had. I just got to go with the evidence in front of me. I'm going to go with the Elviston Killer Bees, and I'm going to say in 4 games, but that was not an easy decision. But I think the Killer Bees will win this series, and I think they'll have the ability in the lineup as well as the goaltending to get it done in 4 games. I know Tilbury's looking forward to the return of Dylan Denemy. He's missed some time. Missed a few games there. Obviously, they got weapons in guys like Jake Durham as well. But the way that Fulcher and Raymaker's been playing lately, as well as the Bees defensive core, and of course the offense that we talk about a lot, I think the Killer Bees will be able to win it in 4. I won't be fully surprised if it goes 5, but I think that's the longest that one goes.
All right. Well, I'm not surprised. Joel picked the bees in 4.
Shocker.
I don't know if it's the towel above him, but no, I hear your sentiment there. Um, I'm gonna give my good friend Dylan Denemy. I'm gonna give him a game. I am. I do believe that Tilbury's gonna win one, and I bet you it could even be a shocker. They might win the first. And maybe they figure things out from there. Tilbury's a really good team. It's tough that they got put obviously in a division where they have to go 1 versus 4 and have to play. It doesn't matter. My dad and I were joking about that a couple weeks ago with this division. It doesn't matter who you play. There's no easy matchup, right? All 4 of these teams can win a game, can steal 3, can steal 4. But that being said, I believe that Alvinston this year has a fire under them. I do when I watch them. All the criticisms that people like myself have made over the years were justified in the end. And you know that from, not I didn't criticize them that much in the first year. Game 7 championship loss by 1 goal wasn't that bad of a situation. But last year I did call them out a couple times for saying I don't think their defense has what it takes. And I kept saying if they get in discipline problems against Strathroy in that second round, that they were going to get bounced. And people laughed at me and they got bounced. And I think that has been righted. I think that they, ironically, with Craig Wright adding him onto this team, I think that they've fixed a lot of the areas that needed fixing. Specifically, like you said, adding a little bit more skill on the defensive side of things, so that you're not just relying on Freifogel to have all the offense from the blue line. And Fulcher and Raymakers are 2 of the best goalies in this league. I don't think they're the best, but I do think that they're the best tandem, absolutely. And it's going to come down to, like I said, can Tilbury shock them in a game and maybe go on a heater? I don't know, but I think just based on hockey analysis, watching this game, being around this game my whole life, seeing the Killer Bees on and off the ice for the last 4 years and seeing what they're capable of, and that being said, with the Bluebirds as well, seeing them on and off the ice. Tilbury's kind of historically known as a team since they were founded that doesn't get it done in the playoffs. So, you know what, Dylan and the guys down there, Big Joe, if you guys want to take this clip and print it off or whatever, and obviously that's an old reference to the old poster board material. But if you guys want to use this and try to get a fire under your belly, go ahead. But I'm going to give you guys a game. I think Alvinston takes this one in 5.
Yeah, Joel, I kind of had the same thoughts as you. I was going back and forth between 4 and 5 games. I've only seen Elvidson once this year. when they came on the road to Halton Hills, but I mean, I think we got blown out that game pretty bad. Alvinson has just so much firepower. I know Tilbury has a strong team. It would be nice to have Denime back. So I'm gonna give him a game, and I'm gonna say Alvinson in 5.
Oh, he's stealing my thunder over there. No, I like the
You want to see my
rationale.
notes?
I like the rationale. Joel is the Alvinston guy, and if we had the clean sweep across the board here, and like I said, Dylan Dunamy's a good friend of mine. That's the guy that I chat with regularly, and I have nothing but respect for the guy. If I was to start a senior hockey team, I've had this conversation a million times. If I was to start a senior hockey team from the ground up, I'm telling you right now, I don't care if it's Allen Cup, I don't care if it's OEHL, I don't care if it's NPHL. If I'm starting a senior hockey team from the ground up, Dylan Dunamy is if I can just pick freely from all these teams, Dylan Dunamy's on my 1C. He's killing penalties, he's winning faceoffs. He's such an intelligent hockey player on and off the puck. He does all the things. He plays the game the right way, but Dylan Denemy and Jake Durham and Sammy Banga, those three guys, they can't carry a team to a win against a team as deep as the Bees, who like you said, Joel, they added Brandon Kudo, and I know Sheldon Thompson's on the IR right now, but they added Brandon Kudo, and they lost guys like Carson Perry, but they got their third and fourth lines now are legit because they saw Stratford and Strathroy. They knew what it took, they knew what they had to improve on, and they did it. So, like I
Well, and
said,
don't be surprised, to be honest with you guys. Don't be surprised if Thompson makes a comeback in the playoffs. I
mhm,
believe that is a possibility. But I think the thing is, Trey, even with a short bench or a weaker lineup and any combination of defensemen, I'm just looking at this Bees team, and it's tougher to find a hole in the armor this year. I really agonized over that 4 versus 5, and I think the thing that made me do it was seeing a Tuesday night game on the schedule.
mhm,
Because as we know, from this league and prior leagues, you tend to see stronger lineups available on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays than you
yep,
might on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. But at the end of the day, I went with 4. And again, no disrespect at all to
no,
Denemy and the Bluebirds. I think they're outstanding hockey players. I picked them in the first round last year in their other league, and I think maybe that point you made about the Bees having a fire on them and having a point to prove, yeah, it's there.
agree wholeheartedly, Joel, 100%. We got to go switch it up to the 2-3. By the way, if you're watching and you're confused, if you're on the Capital side of things and you're confused, like why are they picking them in 4 or 5? What's going on here? Capital Division first round is best of 3, and then the following playoff series are best of 5. That's traditional to the EOSHL as well. They always played best of 5s. They found it was better for scheduling and for attendance of players and fans alike to not overcrowd with a 7 game series when some teams are traveling 2, 3 hours to games. We still have a little bit of travel down here, not as much, but we have traditionally always been best of 7, and we're sticking with that with the 8 team division. So if you were just confused on that, wanted to clarify, obviously the graphic on the screen, I'll probably have added it after the fact to clarify that it's best of 7. I know our playoff brackets releasing on Blocking Biscuits. I already have seen them. They do clarify best of 7 and then Capitals best of 3. Just to clear that up before we switch it over, because I know some people are probably wondering if you're watching from up there, what they play best of 7? I want to see Smiths Falls and Deserano go 7. Yeah, I know we probably all do, but you guys will get to see it in the Outlaw tournament. Don't worry, even though it's not best of 7. Best of 1 sometimes is really hard to beat. So, and we're getting the joy to watch that right now. By the way, shout out to Joel with that beautiful jersey in the background. I didn't get mine out because the night we're recording this, folks, Canada hasn't played yet. They start tomorrow. I am sacrilege on that stuff. I'm not breaking out the Canada gear until they hit the ice. Which I've heard is about the same size as the Alvinston ice surface, by the way. So,
Mhm.
Magic.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, Canada wins as many games there as the Bees do at their patch. So,
I love it.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, me too.
I I'd be loving to see Connor McDavid come out to a game and in the Hive and fly up and down that ice surface in a half a second.
Hey, hey, you shouldn't be looking at our recruiting plan 3, 4 years down the road here. Come on now. Okay.
Hey, we were just
Anyhow,
chatting. Ryan Davis has his blood relative Brandon Montour lined up for the Ironman in the near future. So watch out. This league's gonna get better, folks. We tease it all the time. And speaking of the Ironman, we're gonna switch over to the 2 and 3 matchup on the Loyalist division side of things. pop it up on the screen there. Brad, you're looking at it right now. Brad's frowning over there behind the graphic just in case you didn't notice. The Six Nations Ironman, the feel good story, the very skilled team that also plays with a 10-foot neutral zone. We'll get into that later, but going head to head with the Halton Hills Coyotes, based in Acton, Ontario, formerly the Richmond Hill Coyotes. Joel, this one's again, it's another one of those series where it looks like it could favor the higher seed favorably. What do you got for us?
So I feel bad doing this for two reasons. One, I'm a real boring guy. If this is your first time ever seeing me on a podcast with Trey uh, uh, here and with Brad, like I'm a real boring guy. But I'm going 4 games again, and the other reason I feel bad is that this is Brad Thompson's team. This is the Halton Hills Coyotes. But I honestly believe, having seen them play at home and having seen some of the skill on the ice during the All-Star game as well, that Six Nations is going to be able to win this series in 4 games. Halton Hills may have the ability to steal a game. Goaltending could play a really big role in that. We see in playoffs in some games when goalies get hot, they can steal a game. But just looking at things, my gut tells me that Six Nations will win this series over in the Loyalist division in 4 straight.
Yeah, again, Brad's one of my best friends. I hate having to be put in this spot. But the thing is, chatting with Coach Davis a couple days back and watching the Ironman myself, the thing that I noticed, and I'll just flat out say it, I got to serve the role as the backup goaltender for Stratford on a Sunday afternoon in Six Nations after Zach Weir got a little tweaked up, and they didn't have enough time. He got hurt Saturday night at 9 o'clock at Tilbury. Well, puck drops 3:30 the next day at Six Nations. So it was on the promise that I wasn't going to enter the net. And I showed up and did my best to play the role of senior hockey goaltender. The warm-ups definitely crushed my NHL dreams. That's fine with me. And again, a shout out, if you're watching, to Matt Henderson. You got the hardest shot in the world, but buddy, you missed the net so much. Anyway, Hendy, love you, man. I know I'm going to fire him up to hit the net a few times in the playoffs, but anyway. By the way, last game he played, he just had a hat trick, so I take all that back. But no, the whole moral of the story, I love telling a story. When we get in the change room after the second period, coach walks in, everybody's gassed. The small neutral zone in Six Nations, they bang bodies in the corners. Every time you touch the puck, you're going to get hit. And our coach comes in. This is early season, keep in mind. This is, I think we're 5, 6 games into the year. He comes in, he says, nothing but, boys, this is, bleep it out, Brad. I'm just kidding. This is effing playoff hockey. So if you want to know and remember, for the new guys, if you want to know, and for the old guys, if you want to remember what it feels like to play in the playoffs, this is bleeping playoff hockey. And then he walked out of the room. And this is 6 or 7 games into the season. And Six Nations was already playing that bang bodies in the corners, dump and chase, clog the neutral zone. They have a system. Senior hockey teams often don't have a system. And, it's run and gun. That's just the way senior hockey's always been. Have success on the power play and have a really good, clean breakout. You're going to be a successful team. Put the puck in the back of the net with 1 or 2 good scorers, and you can win a championship. Six Nations, their meat and potatoes roster. They have Theo Hill, who's one of the best players in the league. They have Brendan Anderson, former Brentford Bulldog. They got Tyler Hill, former member of the Guelph Storm, and I believe he played with the Sarnia Sting down your way, Joel, as well. And I know Theo did for sure, former Saginaw Spirit.
He was
And
with the Killer Bees as well in the
yeah,
early going too. The Hill brothers were, yeah.
yep, I remember seeing Tyler and Theo out there. Man, I'm glad they're on Six Nations now, not on the Bees. Man, they don't need any more of that firepower. But jokes aside, and focusing on that series, it's going to be tough for Halton Hills, because Six Nations is already in playoff mode. They've been in playoff mode for a couple of months now. So, I think the turnover in Halton's been an issue for them. And I think that, just having some insider information from Mr. Brad Thompson, all jokes aside, I'm just kidding, guys, back at Alton. I got to stick with Joel here. I think it is going to be 4. I know Brad's frowning. I'm sorry, man. but I just think that the Ironmen are destined to play the Blitz in that Loyalist Division final, and the winner of that series is going to be beaten black and blue and bruised and have to play on the other side of it. Obviously, we'll make our predictions down the line for that, but right now I got Six Nations in 4.
That all sounds great, guys. I'll keep it simple. I have faith in our team. Coyotes in 7.
Oh, Brad, love it. You know what? That's
Love the
bold.
loyalty.
It's bold, and you know what?
Love
You're
it.
a man who's not going to change up on his team. And you know what? Luckily for me, the last 2 years I worked for the team that won the championship, so everybody called me a homer, and I was always picking my team, but they went on to win it all. So obviously that might change this year. But I got two horses in the race this year. So, but no, Brad, I appreciate that, and the boys in Halton Hills. You know what? Maybe, I've been in and around your team, and you guys might want to smack me right in the mouth right now for saying this. But use it as fire. Like I said to the Tilbury guys, we're fine with being bulletin board material. You guys win a couple of games, you guys bring the clip up on your phone and everybody in the change room laugh, right? Go ahead, do it. That's what we're here for. We want to be an organization with Blocking Biscuits that we speak the truth freely, and we want the people to appreciate it, and we want the players to use it as motivation or appreciate the way we talk about them, etc. And like I said, if we piss you guys off, let us know. Head in the comment section or send us a DM, and we'll get you going. So, oh,
I'll relay all the messages on Saturday to you guys.
I have a feeling Brad will definitely be a man of his word on that. So, we're gonna switch back over to the series I'm obviously most excited for. Championship rematch from last season. Two teams that do not like one another, and I know the Sydenham rivalry has really kind of taken the front and center this year. But these two teams have hated each other for a long time, and they've both been very competitive for a long time. These are two teams that, you look at the rosters, you look at the names, you look at Zach Magwood and Connor Hall and Jaden Pekka and now Travis Winkworth and the list goes on. The depth of both these two teams, if they have 4 lines deep, these two teams, it's like a heavyweight boxing match. And Joel, why don't you give us your insight? We got the 2 seed Strathroy Jets and the 3 seed Stratford Irish.
So I agree with you. This one is juicy. It is heated. It is probably going to be the most physical series we see out of all 4 of these opening rounds. And man, it was a tough one to pick. It was my second hardest to pick in terms of number of games, but even going back and forth on possibilities here. And again, lineups have sometimes been the questions with the Strathroy Jets, with a few police officers working shift and, wondering about the placement of games. Earlier ice time tends to be a thing in Stratford. Oh, man. So I really agonized over this one. Now, last year, the Irish surprised me by being able to beat the Jets in the finals of their previous league. And I know the grit that Stratford is capable of, and I've seen it against the Alveston Killer Bees as well. I mean, we saw 2 1-goal games, one of them in overtime, where Stratford scored in the final seconds of play, and it took an overtime winner from Brandon Kudo to win it. But it was crazy, and so just going back and forth, I have to think here: who wants this more? And that's
Mhm.
a tough question too. And I got to believe, just like you said, Alvinston has a fire under them. Strathroy wants to beat Stratford bad here,
Mhm.
and they want a date with the Bees. And they have that confidence that being only, 30 minutes, maybe less away from Alvinston, they can ice full lineups there. I think they are looking a series ahead and yet not neglecting what's in front of them. So I went back and forth on this. I looked at it, and the goaltending tandem. You mentioned how strong Raymakers and Fulcher been this year. The tandem of Jesse Raymond and Evan DeBrouwer has been right up there. If you look in the top stats for goaltending for the year, other than total saves made, which no surprise goes to Woodstock's goaltender. Every other statistic, okay, it's the 2 Strathroy goalies, Raymond and DeBrouwer, and the 2 Alvinston goalies, Fulcher and Raymakers. And I know what those goalies are capable of. That being said, the Irish have Zach Weir. So you can paddle this back and forth, but ultimately you got to pick a team and you got to pick a number of games. So my gut finally settled on this. There's a bit of a weird schedule. I think in the games 2 and 3, there's some things that are juggling with days and home ice and some differences there. Fans can check that out on the schedule. But I finally decided on Strathroy Jets 6 games. It'll be a 6 game series with the Jets coming out on top, but it's going to be physical. And when they come out, they're going to be nursing some battle wounds without a doubt, because Stratford's going to throw everything they have at them.
For sure. It's gonna be a great series. Like I said, I've been blessed to be in and around these teams, and I was able to catch every one of our games this year, minus one. And unfortunately, it was the one game that the Irish went down to Strathroy. Both teams dressed full lineups. 6-5 overtime winner for the Stratford Irish, Zach Magwood. What a game that was. We're talking Press, we're talking Shrep, we're talking Magwood, we're talking Pekka. That was the one game where everybody was there, and I unfortunately had to miss that one. But no, Joel, it's funny you mentioned it because I was laughing. I was joking with my old man. We're all goaltenders here except Brad, whatever. Brad's the one guy. Billy Boal's a goaltender we talked to in the first half of the show. You and I are goaltenders. Brad's just like Brad's the weird guy in the group. But Evan
I
DeBrouwer,
think you
man,
got that backwards, but okay.
yeah, that's you're the minority opinion in this situation, Brad. So, but no, Evan DeBrouwer. It was funny. I was joking with my old man. I said DeBrouwer's having his worst year in senior hockey. And Dad said, "Oh, really? Eh? What's his numbers?" I said, "Oh, he's got a 291 goals against and a 917 save percentage." Yeah, that's his worst year in senior hockey because the last 2 years he put up a 935 in both years and a 2.5 goals against. So if I could have had a year that was my worst year in senior in hockey in general, having a 917 and a 292, I think I would be very proud of that.
Oh,
Uh,
without a doubt.
my old buddy Jesse Raymond filling in the backup role very nicely, having a great year there. He's won some games where I was shocked he wasn't starting, that he was starting, excuse me. They had some big games down the stretch. He held them in there in that game in Alvinston, the 4-3
He was
final there.
outstanding. He was
He
outstanding in that Alvinston game.
and the Razor, I mean, I've known him for years. He's a former Sarnia Sting. For him to be there and be that confidence as the backup, if anything happens to DeBrouwer or if he can't make a game with these weird times, I think that's a big thing for Strathroy. That being said, if you thought I was picking him, obviously you're wrong because I'm wearing the hat. Um, the reason why, and I'll give you guys rationale. People will say I'm a homer, and you're right, I am. But the rationale I'll give you is that this is a team and an organization that since their founding, and I know regime changes and everything, it doesn't matter. A lot of these core guys are still there. This is a team that has never really been a regular season performer. The one year in the previous league, they actually won the regular season title. They lost in the second round to Elvinston. Every other year, they were a 500 or just above team, and they won 2 championships in that stretch. I have watched these guys, whether it was as a rival of these guys or now in their broadcast booth, the core guys, the Matt Hendersons, the Calvin Thompsons, the Ray Robbins, the names that you've seen on the score sheets since 2021. These guys have an incredible ability to step up in moments when you least expect them to, in moments where it feels like they're down and out. I was on Joel's camp last year. I didn't pick the Jets, but I was worried, man. And I went and I watched them go into that tiny barn, not the Gemini, into the other one where the Rockets play. And, I saw them put up 6 goals on Evan DeBrouwer in a game in that series where it was a swing game. And I was like, wow. And this is a different year. This is a different team, both sides. We have Brandon Press. We have Rob Shrimp. We have these guys. Wes Baker, their captain, wasn't there last year. An original Strathroy Jet. He's back. Brandon Buck, Jamie McQueen, Pat McNeil, Ryan Martinelli. The names I'm listing, these are guys that are perennial pro hockey players, Memorial Cup champions. 3 of these guys won a Memorial Cup together. But I believe in my boys. I believe in the goaltending tandem of Mario Cavalier and Zach Weir. I think that they secretly and quietly have become a very good goaltending tandem as a 1-2 punch. Mario, Brad, you know him. Mario's a great goaltender. He might be the X factor in this series. I'm going to throw that out there. Joel, you haven't got the chance to see Mario because unfortunately, the 402 was closed. I hate having to repeat that. But for those of you at home that don't know Super Mario, He was back-to-back FPHL goaltender of the year with the Carolina Thunderbirds. He's not just an average goaltender. And Zach Weir is a two-time champion in senior hockey. Those two guys, if they get hot, look out. I know Evan DeBrouwer and Raymond are on the other side. The ultimate X factor isn't going to be the goaltending. It's going to be the discipline. And my call out to the Stratford Irish right now, I watch you boys like a hawk every week. I love every one of those guys in that room. I have your back no matter what. Stay out of the box. The Strathroy Jets have the number one power play in the entire NPHL. 25 teams from Shawville, Quebec to Tilbury, Ontario, and they have the number one power play. If you think you have a chance in the series, stay out of the box. If they stay disciplined, I got the Irish in 7. If they don't, man, oh man, I'm going to regret that pick. All right, Brad, what do you got?
Geez, you got me all fired up here, Trey. If they can stay out of the box, I'm gonna, you know what? Regardless, when you look at the all the series, this is the one I was most excited for. Obviously, other than my own, mine's stressful enough as it is. But just in terms of outside perspective, this is the series I'm most looking forward to. Championship matchup last year. I think these teams match up really well together with the goaltending and with the firepower they have in the rooms. I was gonna do the Irish in 7, but Trey, you got me fired up. They're gonna stay out of the box and do it in 6.
Oh,
Oh,
I picked against your team and then you still pick my team. That is loyalty right there. I can't believe that, man. That's but again, it's a matchup where you know what? I agree with you, Joel, on all your sentiments. The Jets are fired up. They want to win a championship. They have a bunch of older guys. Who knows? Is Prest going to come back next year? Is Shrimp going to come back next year? Is McQueen going to come back next year? I mean, these guys obviously love the game of hockey, but these guys are running out of kicks at the can. So if it goes the other way, I would not be surprised whatsoever, even to the point of it could be a sweep in favor of the Jets. I made my pick. I stand my ground. But my point is, I agree with your sentiments. I just have seen this Stratford team when I've written them off and I have not believed in these guys. They have gone and shown me that they do know how to win and they know how to win as a group. Adding in Christian Polillo and those names to this roster only made it better. And you know what, Travis Winkworth, the guy who's hungry for a championship, that's one of the best players in this league, and he's been for years. He is hungry for a championship. There are reasons that you could pick either of these teams. But yeah, I want to see a Super Mario, have a good first round series, and we'll see how it lines up, Joel.
yeah, and Trey, in the spirit of sportsmanship, I want to throw a late flag on the play, meaning I want to call a fine on you because I believe you referred to Mr. Raymakers as a former Sarnia Sting when in fact he was a former London Knight,
No,
and
I
it was
said
Caden Fulcher who was the former Sting and former Bulldog. I'm pretty sure you
throw the
referred
challenge
to
flag.
Raymakers as a
I
former
said
Sting.
throw the challenge flag. I said Razor is a former Sarnia Sting, and I was referring to Jesse Raymond. He
Ah, I thought you
did
were referring to
play.
Raymakers because at the
No, he
time you
got
were talking about the Sting
personal
goaltend. You were
foul,
talking about the
unnecessary
Bees
roughness.
goaltenders. No, 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 no. Right.
I think we got to
Razor is
rewind the
also
tape.
Joseph Raymakers.
They're
So
both
you
Razor.
threw me. There
Uh,
you go. So
I
okay,
think
because I was going to say no Sarnia Sting player I don't think wants to be called a London Knight. No London Knight wants to be called a Sarnia
no.
Sting. If you
That's
know that series, folks, you'll get that without a doubt. That's I won't even get us started on that. But okay, I thought I'd take my shot and get my fine back, and I don't regret it.
I will we'll have to rewind the tape there. Brad's gonna have
No,
to take a look.
you were definitely talking about Raymond.
Because Jesse's one of my good friends. And that's why I know that statement.
Ah,
I remember saying I was speaking on DeBrouwer and just how good the goaltending was going to be in these playoffs. And I said Razor, a former Sarnia Sting, and yes, Jesse Raymond did
got it.
did spend a half season with the Sarnia Sting back in, I believe it was 2009, 2010. He just missed the Steven Stamkos years, unfortunately, because he always joked about that. He said, well, if I was there when Stammer was there, I probably would have never left. I said, yeah, getting picked up by a guy who scores 70 goals this season isn't bad. But no, it's going to be a great playoff, guys. Thank you all to both of you guys for taking the time out of your days to hop on and break things down. Folks, I have to make obviously our official announcement here on the podcast. For those of you that maybe don't follow the Instagram page, get over to the Instagram page right now. We are dropping our playoff brackets on Blocking Biscuits, and we are very happy to announce that we are hosting a special giveaway, which includes a two-person pass to the Outlaw Cup tournament in Smith Falls, Ontario, and a meet and greet hangout with Brad and I, and a chance to hop up in the broadcast booth at game one of the Outlaw Cup tournament which it's already decided, between the Smith Falls Rideau and the Orangeville Blitz. It's going to be the first game on April 24th. Brad and I will be in the booth, and if you are our lucky winner, you will be joining us at the broadcast booth for a segment and get to talk about what you love about the league, et cetera, et cetera. How do you get in on this? You head to our Blocking Biscuits Instagram page where you're going to see a post, which is our playoff brackets. Take those playoff brackets, hit the little mail symbol, send it to us. It's going to sound weird, right? Send it to us. Tell us who is going to win these series and in how many games, all the way from the Capital down to the Metropolitan. If you guess the team that wins the series and the amount of games all the way through till the championship finals, we have decided on the final four teams. If you can get it from where we stand now to the final four teams, picking correctly, you will be entered to win, and we will announce our lucky winner in mid-April, right before we get set for the Outlaw tournament. So, whole point being, if you're watching on YouTube, listen on Spotify, you haven't checked out the Instagram, get to the Instagram if you want to win a couple of passes to the Outlaw tournament, which is going to be the biggest senior hockey spectacle in Ontario this year. You are definitely going to want to get it for free, because I mean, what better way to do anything than for free? And Blocking Biscuits is very proud to be not only attending the Outlaw Cup, but Brad and I obviously having the honor of being able to call the first game in Outlaw Cup history between Orangeville and Smiths Falls. It's an announcement we're making publicly right now for the first time on behalf of Blocking Biscuits and on behalf of the NPHL. We are so fired up, and we can't wait to bring it to you. But if you want to join us, head to the Instagram, check out. And by the way, I don't think I even told you, you have to like the post. So the post that is our playoff bracket, you'll see it. It stands out. We'll pin it to the top of the page. Like the post, send it back to us. Tell us every series, the result of who's going to win. It's simple. Tell us who's going to win and how many games, and then take the math, do the next series all the way through until you get to the championship. And if we do have somebody who aces the whole bracket, I think they'll get to be a co-host on the show next year. I think that'll be the prize, but it's going to be tough to do. 24 teams remain in the bracket, so trying to get that all right is going to be quite the challenge. But there's my shout out. There's my pitch. There's my ad for this second half of our NPHL playoff show, this specific portion, the Metropolitan Conference. Joel Campbell, final thoughts, brother, and thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, I mean, it was great being here with you tonight. I think one thing just to put out there is what a successful first season it was for the Metropolitan League. And, you know, when we were so excited in the spring when we heard that the Northern Premier Hockey League was expanding and adding the Metropolitan, and, you know, we saw 6 teams we were quite familiar with join the Metropolitan League in the 4 that are in the Gateway, as well as obviously Orangeville and Halton Hills after their move from Richmond Hill, and then of course 6 Nations and Woodstock joining. It's been great hockey. The caliber of hockey is just so high, and I mean, I was talking to somebody just the other day, Trey, just to keep it brief. I've called a lot of fun games, a lot of intense games. Some of those incredible playoff games between Alvinston and Stratford a couple of seasons ago, just tremendous, as well as Alvinston and Tilsonburg. And then last year, the games in the Lambton County rivalry series in a previous league between Alvinston and Petrolia were unreal. But that game I had the privilege to call, which turned out to be the second last game the Bees played at home with, between the Jets and the Bees. That was some of the best hockey I've ever seen, just in terms of defensive tightness, physicality, skill, and goaltending. And I mean, if you have not gotten out, folks, to check out some of the incredible senior hockey that is going on in your own backyard, wherever you may be in this province, whether it's in the east over where the Capital Conference is, or whether it's in towards the middle and the west where the Metropolitan Conference is, you got to get out there and you got to check it out, man. The caliber is incredible. The price cannot be beat. And the game experiences, especially when you get to those towns that pour their heart and soul into it, like you'll find on a Friday or a Saturday night in Alvinston, the B City in the auditorium. You just can't beat it. You got to get out with the family. You got to get your tickets from Front Door Plus. And if you can't make it live, find out where your teams are streaming their games. Watch those games. You got passionate play-by-play crews throughout the league, guys on the call like Treh Hamilton here, and like so many guys who call the league, and of course the Alvinston Killer Bees on Sporfy. It's well worth it, folks. You don't want to miss it, and playoff season brings it to a whole other level. All I can say is to shout out this league and the teams in this league and the players on a phenomenal regular season, an incredible all-star weekend in Alvinston too. And now, boy, oh boy, we're just all looking forward to these playoffs. And I wish all the best to every single team in their playoff drive here. And to those guys headed to the Outlaw later this year, give it all you got and show those boys in the East what we mean, and that we mean business right here in the Metro.
Well,
And that's Joel keeping it brief.
That's me being brief. I can go long, boys. We need another hour. We can go. We got stories, but no, I think we'll cut a break here. That's me being brief.
No, that's great. Joel always was the butt of the jokes on the other former podcast, of being the guy that could tell stories. And you know what's funny? Because I don't shut up either. I know what it's like, man. And you know what though? They say the goalies, I mean, we're just a little bit different, and that's perfectly fine, because you know, it's some of the best play-by-play and just hockey analysts in general started out between the pipes. So, you know, Brad, just take that and shove it. Now, I'm just kidding. So anyway, guys, on behalf of my executive producer, Mr. Brad Thompson, and our special guest tonight, Mr. Joel Campbell, our NPHL Metropolitan insider, I am Treh Hamilton, your host of the Blocking Biscuits podcast. This has been the NPHL Metropolitan and Capital playoff preview show. Thanks for watching, folks. Stick around. We'll catch you next week. Have a good one, hockey fans.